Welcome back to Works in Progress. Last time the guys got stuck into cutting out the windows and getting the van prepped for the pop-top roof. In this episode, Stu has a solar panel problem and it's time to get that pop-top roof installed.
This is a VW T6 that we've got in for a full conversion. In this week's episode, we're going to move things forward. So we're putting on the side structures, currently pre-drilling to put on the scissor hinges and the gas struts, get the roof on today, and hopefully going to start putting down the canopy and pre-tensioning that.
But before we get stuck into the T6, Stu's got a solar problem that needs fixing.
This is the panel that we've removed from this van. You can see the old laminate on here, so it's got like a UV protected layer on top. For some reason this one's delaminated, the whole top sheet's come off. The panel itself probably worked for quite a while after that, but this one has completely died, so that's why we've removed it from the van. This is a 200-watt panel, pretty good panels. It's just we've obviously had a bad batch where they've started delamming and stuff because we've replaced a few of these, unfortunately. This is a good example of what glue to use and what not to use. Whoever's installed this solar panel, they've used silicone. It hasn't stuck at all, but you can see here the glue hasn't even tried to stick, where the polyurethane has actually bonded really well. I've had to cut it off with the wire, the cheese wire. So I've just got to clean off all of this glue, get it all clean and ready to stick down.
While Stu preps the van for the new solar panel, let's take a look at how the T6 is going.
So to fit these side panels, you offer them up, make sure they fit nicely. Then we're going to pre-drill these holes, marking them in for the rivets. We tend to drill one at each end, drop a rivet in, and that way it holds it in while you're doing the rest of them. Then you can go along, pre-drill them all. Then we remove the panel, primer all the holes, just to make sure there's no unprimered bare metal. And then we cut in for any lights that need to go in underneath. Then it gets a bead of sealant run across the top. Again, when I say sealant, polyurethane is the only one we would use. We tend to use Sika, you can use other types as well. I think it's a 552. It gets placed in place on top of the sealant, rivets go in, riveted all on the top. We can then drill underneath where it meets the body, rivet the underneath as well. On this side here, you need to tie up the wiring harness first before you do any drilling, just to avoid any sort of damage, and also so you know where it is and it's kept up against the side of the van. You no longer have access to the wiring harness once this is in, so that's kind of vital importance. You'll see we've got the wires hanging down here where we've pre-drilled for our lights. We've dropped down loops of cable so that they're all in the same loop, and then these will just be cut and we'll put in our lights into it then.
A T6.1 California has just arrived for some new alloys, grille lights and a spare wheel carrier. Time to get it in the workshop and get started.
This morning we've got this T6.1 California in the shop. It's coming in for a few modifications, give it more of a swamper feel. We're going to be installing these BF Goodrich All-Terrain KO2 tyres onto these Wolf Race Overland 1400s. It's having a set of 5, so we're going to be installing a black California bike rack. Fantastic piece of kit. It's a one-man operation on and off. We're taking off the main cycle bars and putting on some Hess bars and a spare wheel carrier to carry his 5th wheel. We're also going to be installing this laser lamp grille kit, which will be installed in here. This is a R750 kit, a really good bit of gear. There's other brands as well. Stealth do a really good kit. We sell it in the shop. This guy's gone for the laser kit. Stu's going to be working on this morning and hopefully make some headway with it today.
Before we look at that, let's go back over to the solar panel.
So here we have the replacement panel for this van. You can see the face on it, the texture. This one has obviously still got the protective coating on it. It's kind of textured. I'm assuming the texture is just to try and cut down reflection so it absorbs more light, I suppose. With these, obviously when they are face down, they're not making any power because they're not getting any sunlight. As soon as you flip it over, this wire becomes live. Again, it's only 12 volts. It won't shock you or anything. 200 watts. It's about, 12 amps. It's actually rated 11.3 amps, so it's a bit of current. I just tape up the ends while you're busy working with the panel. It's not going to be unnecessarily touching or shorting against anything. Again, it's just personal preference, because you get some really high voltage panels as well. Open circuit, they can go up to like 100 volts, 200 volts, so you don't want to touch that.
Once the guys have finished fitting the new solar panel, it's time to fit the pop top to the California.
So we've got the roof in place where we think it's going to be. It's just kind of rough measurements just now. We've put in 2 blocks at the back which are carpeted just to avoid any sort of unwanted damage. What they'll do is they'll lift it up to roughly the right height for the scissor hinges once we've lifted the front. I'm about to step in and lift the front of the roof, and Stu's going to put in this framework that we knock up, and it will just hold the front of the roof up at approximately the right position so that when we lower down the scissor hinges they'll sit nice and flat and we're not going to bend them when we put in our torque screws. Everybody ready?
Yep.
We need to go back about 1.5 to 2 inches. That's it about there. So if you stick on those pistons when I lift this. So now the roof's secure, we can take our braces out and step away, knowing that it's not going to fall at all. So we've got 1 screw fixing in each of the scissor hinges, 3 slotted holes in each one, and they've got 1 security one that's not slotted so it won't allow it to move forwards or back. And what we'll do now is we'll put the first 3 in, we'll bring the roof down, we'll check its position. If it's slightly off to one side, we'll slacken off the screws and move one side forwards or backwards just to make sure that it's sitting nice and straight. Once we're happy with the position of it, we'll put in that final screw and that will lock it into position. It won't be able to go anywhere from then. Once we've got those on, we can then start attaching the canopy and tightening that up. And then that's basically the hardest bit done.
With the pop top looking good, it's time to concentrate on the grille lights for the California.
These have built-in side lights or parking lights. You get 2 different colors as well, depending on which one of these contacts you use. It gives you either a yellow side light or a whiter side light. Okay, we start cutting the grille. Just be aware that there is a radiator behind there, so when you're using your blade, obviously don't poke any holes in it. Now that I've cut the holes, before putting on the lights, I made sure that the brackets actually fit the spaces. Sometimes behind you need to trim a little bit more of the plastic, etc. Like on this side, you have to trim quite close to the aircon pipes as well, so you've got to be really careful of those. This light goes in from this side, and they tuck the wire in the back. It does have a bit of slack, so you just got to kind of tuck it in so that it doesn't flap around too much. Make sure that's seated in there nicely, and you just give it a push, click, that's him. Give them a test, make sure they're pointing where you want to point them, and that's pretty much it. Okay, so we've just finished installing the laser lights on there, all connected up to the existing lights, park lights, high beams. I'll just go switch them on. Should be side lights, and then high beam.
With the grille lights fitted, it's time to move on to the spare wheel carrier. We use a genuine VW bike rack made specifically for the California and add Hess bars to mount the spare wheel. Once assembled, the guys fit it to the van. Now it's time to fit the new wheels. Got an electric roof.
Yeah. See this little screen here? shows you what level it's sitting at. Or you can select the roof, select open. We don't work on an awful lot of these Californias, obviously because they're pre-built campervans.
Put it down?
Yeah,
Can you put it down?
It brings it down to here and then it stops to ask you, roof bed already down? And then you have to click it again. Wow, the heat coming off of that is unreal. The heat coming off of that is unreal. All the hot air that was trapped up there just get pushed down into the van. Some went up about 20 degrees.
This is not what transporters are meant to be used for, Fraser.
Yeah, there's one inside and one on top, it's fine. How are you meant to eat when you get to your picnic spot?
Absolutely not.
It's all perfectly safe. The straps just vibrate in the wind, that's all it is. If the straps stop vibrating, then we're in trouble because the cable's.
And they've added little Velcros here. That's new. On the outside,
What's that for?
it's got like a little Velcro on the flap.
Alright, okay.
It's the first time I've noticed that.
We're happy with the tension of this?
Yeah,
and then we're just going to put more in.
Well, yeah,
in the spaces and then,
I've already split the difference. I wasn't going to add any more. Do you think it needs more?
I would do some of the big rears, I'd stick one in there.
So I kind of focused around the front here, so like where it's going to have a lot of like traffic. You know, like with the zip open.
Yeah. So you definitely need one there and one there. So we've now tensioned the canopy down. Stu's fitted the J-trim down. You do this with little self-drilling screws. You start off, you've got one piece here. It comes from factory with pre-cuts, so you can bend it into a kind of goalpost shape, and that gives you your front shape here. And then you get the same piece for the back, and then you just have to cut small pieces to go in to the middle to fill the gaps to give you your whole frame all the way around. We usually only put like one screw here, one there, just space it out that way, do the back and then into the sides, and once you're happy, step outside, check the canopy, make sure that it all looks good. Once you're happy with the position, then you can carry on and start filling in. You just split the differences and just work your way all the way around and then split the difference again. You don't want to really put a screw in each bit and just work your way around like that, otherwise you might end up being really happy with this section. By the time you get round to here, you've got a big crease in the canopy and there's nowhere for it to go. We had a guy once, years ago, and a young apprentice, I'd left him to do the job, and he was tightening one area and working his way around, and as he got to the other side, by the time he was getting tighter and tighter and tighter as he went, by the time he got round to the start again, this bit was now baggier than it was out the back, and so he just kept on tightening and kept on tightening. By the time I came back about an hour later, he had lost about this much of the canopy and pulled the whole roof down, and he was saying he couldn't get it tight. We ended up having to sack off the whole canopy and get a new one sent out. Most companies now will do what's called a Scenic canvas. You can unzip the whole thing. And then you can roll this up and it'll clip on at the top up there. The other good thing about the canvases now, especially Skyline do these, which is good, SCA do them, where it goes into like a cater strip, like a bead channel at the top that's fitted into the roof. So if you ever did need to change the canopy, if it goes mouldy after a load of years, you don't actually have to staple them on anymore. It used to be that you used to have to industrially staple them all around the side. It was like a full day job. Now you can just pull this from the one end and you can slide it all the way out. SCA actually do that top and bottom, so you don't need to do this on an SCA roof, which is really handy. Makes it so easy for changing your canopy. You pop your pop top open come the spring and you've got little black dots all over your canopy. We used to change the canopies for years, we did it, and it was quite an expensive thing. And now we've found a product, B&Q do it, I think.
Yeah, it's like a mould removal spray.
It's just a mould spray, yeah, it's great. Is it HQ or something it's called, the company that sell it?
Yeah.
It's basically just called mold spray, and it smells like bleach, and you come in and you just spray it on, hold your breath, leave, and come back like 15 seconds later and it's completely clean, completely gone, and saves you from changing your canopy. But yeah, you just don't want to breathe it in while you're doing it.
Yeah, also check if you are going to do that, just make sure that you don't spray it on and it bleaches.
Yeah, try a small inconspicuous area first.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a.
Or you
can
just spray it on a rag and then just give it a quick brush. It generally gets it all off.
Yeah, but yeah, it's miracle stuff. Okay, let's get this cut off and sealed up around the outside. Back over on our Man TG, we've just had this wrap fitted. We do this because you've got your acrylic glass window there and it's kind of a matte finish that's on it. And then we do our side pods and a matte paint as well, and it just kind of ties the whole area in. We used to fit the glass windows and it fills out the area quite nicely, so when you've got the small windows, if you wrap it up, it stops it feeling like the window is just kind of floating in amongst the space, which is good. The guys done Vinylistics in Stratford, they've done a really nice job. So now the boys have cut out around about here. We're just about to fit these side windows, and then they're going to jump on to fitting these side pods. We'll show more of that next week. So that's about it for this week's episode. If you've made it this far in the video, let us know, drop the word camper into the comment section below. And as always, like and subscribe. We'll have a new video out next week where you can catch up with what's going to be happening with the Man TG and the transporter we've got in the workshop. Thanks for watching.